Hello and welcome to Horror Boys. I'm Austin,
I'm Chris.
Isaiah.
and we're back at it to review another horror movie, because that's what this podcast is. If you're a first-time listener, we review horror movies. It is Horror Boys, a horror movie podcast, as the logo entails. I know, crazy. Can you believe it? Three white guys with opinions on movies. Never been done before.
No, probably not.
I don't know if it ever
I doubt
has.
I don't listen to podcasts, so
Actually, me neither.
You know,
very possible that it hasn't.
as
far as I know.
I do, and there is a lot of this. It's maybe a little bit of an oversaturated market, and I'm glad we're jumping into it.
The market's hungry. It's a hungry market.
It's always
always
hungry,
been
you know?
hungry.
But yeah, so we're talking about Friday the 13th Part 5 today. If you haven't seen our first 4 parts, head on over to the YouTube channel you're already on and check those other videos out. Because those movies are all better than this one. Let's talk about Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning. Oh, buddy.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Yeah, I agree.
I just give a little preface. We normally end with our opinion on the movie in general, and we still will out of principle and format.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want to get out of the way that this movie is garbage. So bad. Everything that made the other movies that were decent, because some of them suck, don't get me wrong. I think 2's pretty bad. I think 3's got its flaws for sure. 1 has its flaws. 4 has its flaws. They all have flaws. But this movie is worse in every way possible, unless you're
mostly flaws.
Unless you watch these movies solely for the excuse to see some free nudity in a horror movie, that's the only thing this movie stepped up the game. But who cares? If you want that, there's a whole sites for that. If you want a movie, this isn't good in so many ways. So let's start at the beginning, because that's what we do. We go over the whole story, and man, is this story great.
It's something.
Oh.
It starts strong.
It does start.
I will give the movie that concession.
I will say, it starts okay. It starts good. It gets okay, and then it just gets worse. Every other scene, you're like, oh, okay, this is where we're going. Oh, okay. Oh.
Anyways, we start off watching Tommy
Yeah.
watch some gravediggers dig
Yeah.
up Jason Voorhees' grave.
Yeah, we're out in the rain, and these two
Yep.
dudes, they're trying to dig up Jason, and Jason is somehow alive. And if you've seen the last movie, you're like, how? He was, obliterated by Tommy. How is this possible? And he kills these two dudes, just straight up just kills them. And honestly, probably the most violent deaths in this movie, because that's a prevailing flaw of this movie, is the deaths are so bad. If you're a long-time listener, thanks, Dad. We talked about how in the second movie, the deaths are terrible. And this movie went, hey, what if we made them worse?
Yeah, there are a lot of off-screen deaths.
A lot of
uncreative deaths.
It's composed mostly of off-screen death.
Or if it is on screen, there's no blood whatsoever somehow. And it's like, what? That person just got their neck slit and there's some lipstick on their neck now, and that's it.
Like a scratch mark.
What is this? But yeah, so these two guys, they die, and honestly, some of the better deaths in this movie. I forgot that these deaths were okay as we got further in the movie.
Yeah, and by better deaths, we mean they each get stabbed with a machete, and that's it.
Yeah.
But we see them get stabbed with the machete.
To be clear, these aren't good. This would be like if this was one of 12 deaths in a movie, and it was just this, you'd be like, all right, as long as the other deaths are okay, I'm cool with this. But these are the best ones.
The peak.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what I always say about good movie making. Peak at the start. Then then you can only go down from there. Wait.
Well, I know you're a big fan of hooking people, and then as long as you hook them.
Yeah. No, Jason doesn't use a hook at all. That would be an innovative new kill, and that doesn't happen. Not at all.
So yeah, after he kills these two random guys, he approaches Tommy hiding in the bushes.
And Tommy just kind of stands there.
And Tommy wakes up.
Yeah, and he wakes up.
It's a dream. It was all a dream.
And now we have old Tommy, who is, I will say, the best part about this movie is his acting. He actually does a decent job acting. Nothing else is good. None of what he's given is good, but he does a really good job playing a guy who's gone crazy.
Let's remember to bring that up again at the end
Okay,
when we discuss
that's
it
fair.
more in depth.
That is fair.
Yeah.
He does a great job for most of the movie.
Yeah. I halfway agree, but yeah, we'll
that's
talk
fair.
about it.
He is in the back of an asylum truck. He is being transferred to a youth home called Pinehurst. And we meet the assistant director, Pam.
Pam.
Oh, Pam. Is she important? I mean, not really, but I guess, sure, she gets to be the final girl. Does she matter? No, not at all. But we'll get... because
I think she might get more screen time than Tommy.
Oh, yeah, she does. Because Tommy... you're not wrong. Because the last, third of the movie, they go, Tommy's not here because Tommy could be the killer. Because this is a whodunit, baby. We don't know who the killer is. And hey, of the 6 or so possibilities, it's the worst one.
Yeah, unless you're Chris and you are a savant for predicting twists, and you just identify the killer as soon as he shows up on screen.
He really did, and it was
Did you really?
Yep. Let's get to that. We'll get to that when we get to that. Let's give
when we get to that.
Yeah. So we meet Pam, and she says I'm gonna introduce you to the doctor, Dr. Matthew. He has a last name. Doesn't matter.
Who cares?
Yeah. And then they have a little conversation about why Tommy's here. Then we cut to Tommy, and he's just staring at his knife ominously because, boy, are they heavy-handed with the "it's Tommy's bad" story in this movie. And, I guess when we get to the ending, you'll find out maybe he is. Jeez, this movie is so bad. Oh, I don't even want to...
This one ended with,
4 endings,
the
and they all
strong
suck.
implication that... Say what?
There's 4 endings, and they all suck, and they get worse as they go.
Well, yeah.
There is definitely that.
But we'll get to the endings when we get to them. We're getting ahead of ourselves because this movie is so bad. I don't want to talk about it. I really don't. Which is, I guess, a weird thing. There's other ones that have been bad, but I still I enjoy crapping on it when we discuss them. This one is this was rough.
Yeah, this movie made me a little bit angry. I'll be honest.
I respect that so
I'm
much.
a little angry. I'll enjoy pooping on it.
That's fair.
Yeah, and that's... Yeah.
So after Tommy stares at his knife ominously, he hears a rustle in the closet. So he walks over to the closet and, it's a spider! Oh, no, it's just a plastic spider being controlled by...
little Reggie the Reckless.
Yeah, Reggie the Reckless. Was it Reggie the Reckless? Was it Reckless?
Yeah.
Okay. I can't remember which way Reckless was. Was it a prefix or a Reggie the something?
It's his last name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so is his brother Demon the Reckless then?
No.
Demon. Yeah, his brother Demon.
And Grandpa the Reckless? Or Gramps the Reckless? Or Granddad the Reckless? Because the kid changes what he calls his granddad. My dad pointed that out because he was watching this after Chris left today to watch the movie. He decided to watch it because my dad's watching all these movies because he's...
Oh, really?
Yeah. And he pointed out, for our other listeners that might exist someday, how the kid changes what he calls his granddad through the movie, which is not something most kids do. You have a name for your granddad. It's Granddad, Grandpa, Gramps,
Peepaw.
Pop. There's lots of names you could have for a grandpa. Not 3 different ones. But this kid proves us wrong. Which I also want to say, I really love Reggie. I actually think he's one of my favorite characters in this movie.
That's fair.
There's not a lot that I get to say that I like about this movie, but I like Reggie, and I like a couple scenes he gets to have later. We will get to those when we get to them. Let's get through some.
Yeah, he gets important.
He does, yeah. Yeah, and he has this whole little speech about how you shouldn't be scared of things, and how he's not scared of no fake spiders.
Where he's from, you can't afford to be scared.
Yeah, you can't afford to be scared of spiders. And Tommy immediately gets him back by wearing one of his, monster masks to scare the kid. And we also reveal that he has all the masks still. So he's still obsessed with masks. And somehow was able to get those transferred with him through multiple insane asylums?
Yeah, I understand.
They help him cope. The counselors understand.
That and lifting weights, as we'll find out in a couple scenes.
Dude.
Jeez! Oh, boy, is ripped!
Woo!
Now we cut to outside, and we have the sheriff and the deputy. They're showing up. They show up, and they return 2 of the kids who were off caught playing harmonica in the woods. He brings them back, and he's telling them, hey, you can't let your kids go out there. And we find out why immediately, because they were apparently on Ethel and her son's farm, and Ethel and Junior are some characters.
Yeah, they are certainly characters.
They are characters.
And by that, we mean that they're not, because they are a collection of stereotypes.
Yeah.
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 Like 6 or 7 of the characters in the movie.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I will say, I mean, ignoring these characters, which are portrayed as like this stereotypical crazy, for a home for like crazy kids, I'll give this 80s movie credit for it not being as unpolitically correct as I expected going in. When I saw them go up onto I saw like children, like youth home for like, I don't remember what the exact word were for Pinehurst, but I was like, oh no, what are we about to watch? Oh gosh, how offensive is this going to get with their stereotypes of every character? And
the gibbering was pretty minor.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of
one gibbering.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of stereotypical people with mental needs that I was expecting going into a movie from the 80s. So I'll give it a little tiny pat on the back for not doing that. It didn't do anything good.
All it gets.
It doesn't do anything good with the characters it gives you, but at least they're not blatant offensive stereotypes.
Of being insane.
Yeah, of being they're still stereotypes, but not those
being mentally ill.
Yeah, which would have been really an easy punch down that a lot of other horror movies that are more recent have done, and this one didn't. So I'll give him credit where credit's
that's
due.
where the compliments.
Yeah, that's well. No, there's a couple more scenes Reggie has, and that's it. But we're not there yet. Where were we?
Ethel and Junior pull up on their motorcycle, and they are stereotypical backwoods
hick crazy. They're the new crazies, but
really
not in but not in the, like the stereotypical "let's warn you" crazy. Just in the backwoods.
I'll cut you up and shoot you in the head if you get on my property. Kind of.
Yeah, Ma, get him.
Okay, that's a good point. There's no Ralph.
No,
is there?
There is no Ralph.
I guess there's a scene later where the sheriff almost is the Ralph.
Kind of. Almost.
He's warning people of the improbable
with the danger, mayor who's only in that scene.
Yeah.
Oh, I would also like to point out that Ethel ends her first appearance in the scene by making a bomb threat directly to the police. And I thought that was pretty cool.
I forgot about that.
That in the 80s that you could apparently just do that straight to a cop's face and get away with it.
And elaborate on it at length and right away giving him a bird.
Yeah. And then she drives off with Junior.
Yeah, and we cut to the back, behind the house, and we have one of the kids, who we find out later his name is Vic, he's chopping wood, and we see a fat kid named Joey who walks up. He watches him for a little while, then looks over and sees that Vi and Rob, who Vi is our alt girl and Rob is the other girl. We later find out
is a girl.
Her name is Robin. We find that out way later, but as of right now, she's referred to as Rob multiple times throughout this movie. So we have them, and he eventually, after staring at Vic for a little while, he walks over to talk to them. It's just there's one of those it's why are we having this pan? I mean, I guess. Maybe it was just the cinematographer's let's show this buff guy chopping wood. But it was weird because the scene was from Joey's perspective. So I don't know why Joey was staring at Vic before he went to go try to talk to the girls. I mean,
I don't know. I mean,
who knows? He goes over, he talks to them, he offers to help and talks about how he never gets to help. And he's also covered in chocolate and has 3 candy bars spilling out of his clothing at this point.
Yeah.
He's fat. Get it? He's fat.
Yeah, he's the fat character.
He's also I would say, as much as I just gave this movie credit 5 minutes ago, he's probably the worst depiction of a potentially special needs character of some sort. They don't say what it is, but he's definitely portrayed as a little slow. Yeah. So
definitely appears to be maybe on a spectrum of some sort.
Yeah. They don't say what. They're not as much as they're overhanded with other things in this movie. They're not overhanded with why any of these other kids are there.
But Joey just wants to help.
Yeah,
And then he gets his chocolatey fingers all over the clean laundry.
yeah.
The girls get mad and tell him to go away.
So he walks away. He goes, starts talking to Vic, and he's like, "Hey, can I help you chop wood? I've never chopped wood. Please let me help." That goes on for too long, and Vic has enough and decides to axe him in the back.
Yeah,
and you're
Vic
like,
really has anger issues.
"What the heck?" Once again, one of the better deaths, not from the killer, just from random Vic.
Yeah. It did catch both me and
Austin
completely off guard.
I did not know that was coming. Yeah, and Vic just straight up kills Joey right there, and I go, I kind of go like, oh, dang, I kind of like Joey. Joey was the most sympathetic character we've met so far, and he's dead immediately.
Yeah.
Well,
he does. I can't remember if it's when he's talking to Vic or the two girls that he establishes that he is an orphan.
I think he tells that to the girls.
Just puts it in there.
Yeah, he does kind of throw that in there. That will get brought up again a little bit later.
He does mention that he's an orphan.
Yeah.
It's very off to the side. It's pretty marginal in the conversation. He's like, being an orphan and all.
Yeah,
that's why.
It's also mentioned one more time before that reveal means something. Because guess what? Apparently, this thing that you don't think matters, it matters later.
It sure does.
Oh, this movie. Oh, let's just keep going. I can't get mad about everything.
So, anyways, paramedics show up because Joey was chopped to pieces,
and we have one guy named Roy. Roy, remember Roy? Remember him? He's Roy. He's important. Roy, that character that doesn't seem important at all. Remember him because he's important. His name's Roy.
Well, the other paramedic is like, "Oh, we better clean this up."
Yeah.
Bunch of cowards. He doesn't say cowards.
He's very vulgar, and he's also kind of seems to not care about the death, which is one of many red herrings we have here. You're kind of supposed to go, "Oh, this guy doesn't seem to care about this death he's all around."
And then Roy gives the other paramedic a very cold and glaring glance.
Yeah.
And then we get this shot
of
him standing menacingly in front of him.
Yeah.
Which is at this point I was like, okay. All right.
Dude, now that you mention it, when I look back at the scene, I'm like, oh, it's so obvious. Which didn't even occur to me at the end of the movie.
But see, the
problem... It's only when you brought it up.
And here's the thing. You're right. Chris was able to figure it out. But the problem is, this movie does a horrible job of actually making you care about Roy at all or think that he matters. He's just a character that's in 2 scenes.
Yeah. Literally 2 scenes.
There's definitely a story
As
they
Roy.
could have told with Tommy being broken and also a killer, which they also decide to kind of tell at the end. Spoiler, sorry. But this movie is so bad. It's the worst movie we have covered by far. I mean, we've only covered 5 movies, counting this one, but still, it's so bad.
Tangent. This is, I want to say, the 3rd movie where they've had the callous paramedic character. 2 or 3 times now in these movies, the paramedics have shown up, and one, if not both of them, they're always in pairs, laughs in the face of death and is real insensitive, and the other one's like, oh, what's wrong with you? They did that it was 2, right, when they were all in the barn?
That sounds right. I definitely remember that happening before. I don't remember where or when, but that definitely, you are right, that has happened multiple times.
I think it was 3 in the barn.
You're right.
Up the scene of 2.
It was, yes.
Either way, this felt very familiar to me at this point, so that made me not suspect Roy whatsoever.
Well, yeah, because these characters show up out of nowhere, and you're like, oh yeah, it's a paramedic. They're doing paramedic stuff, and then they leave.
They take Joey's body. Now we cut randomly to 2 random characters that don't matter at all, but hey, they both get names and they both get a way too long scene. We have 2 random greasers in the 80s for some reason. Just
identically dressed. Yeah.
Yep. Stereotypical
Vinny
greasers.
And other guy.
Joey. No, Pete. Pete. Sorry, it's Pete.
Yeah, it wasn't Pete.
It's Pete. It's Pete and Vinny.
We already had a Joey.
You're right. Pete, so Pete, their car breaks down. It gets sick, if you will. And Pete and Vinny, Vinny is trying to fix the car while Pete is just being a total jerk, doesn't care, will not help. He said, forget you, buddy. I'm going to go poop.
I gotta take a crap, and then he says, "Crap my butt," and then There's quite a few. It's really good writing in this movie.
Yeah, it's a pretty
from the rest,
movie if you really think about it. If you really break it down piece by piece, it's art. and art is subjective.
Yeah, it's high art, actually. Honestly,
yeah, so he goes to
it,
poop, leaving Vinny to fix the car, and the unknown killer kills Pete with a flare
in his mouth.
And it's really
down the windpipe.
Cool. Yeah.
It's somehow one of the cooler deaths in the movie.
I
still directly after that said, well, that was pretty lame.
Yeah. Then we have Vinny singing for a while.
This happens a lot in this movie. And I noted before in like some of these other movies, this one is a departure, but it feels like a lot of the human interactions, just natural human moments, were written by people that read what people do in the dictionary. Like they looked up in the encyclopedia what humans do and are, and they wrote based on that kind of vague mental knowledge of it. And everybody in this movie sings to themselves, and it's like,
I'll be honest,
it's just not. And I can't put my finger on why, but it's not the way that
he is talking about Demon and Anita later on.
Oh, you're right.
Demon and Anita do it. Well, they sing to each other, yeah, when he's taking a dump.
Sort of, yeah.
Spoilers!
No reason,
Spoilers, guys! We'll get to that. I have notes for this. I can't wait to crap on these scenes. Let's continue crapping on this scene. Because Vinny is singing really longly, a lot of expletives. It's
a lot
comical how, like, he'll just, like, kind of break singing and then go like, oh, yeah, I'm supposed to be singing. F this guy. It's like, what?
Yeah.
But in sing-song. It's like, what are you doing? You didn't fix the car. Why? What is this scene? And then he gets his throat slit. And this is that we were talking about earlier, the lipstick on the neck. He gets his neck slit and no blood cut. There's nothing. It's just a little red mark.
A red line.
Because this movie just said, we don't care about deaths. The thing that you guys only wanted boobs, right? You didn't want blood? Because we talked to the MPAA and it was boobs or blood, and we chose boobs. Like, can't have both.
One or the other, yeah.
And we said, you have to have the boobs. And it's like, couldn't we have the blood? I'd rather have the blood. The blood makes the kills more fun. I don't care about the boobs.
This one also had a different makeup artist, didn't it? Special makeup?
Probably.
It must have, because it was much worse.
There's no way Tom Savini would have done this. Tom Savini is an artist.
I didn't see his name in the credits at all.
I wasn't. I'll be honest. By the time we got to the credits, I didn't care. So I was not.
They show him right in. Okay, whatever.
You know. So you're probably right, but I was not. By the time we got to the credits, I was not paying attention.
You're just.
Yeah. I was out. I'm done. That was after the 5 endings we'll get to in a little bit. So now we cut to Tommy, and he's freaking out and hallucinating. This is the first time we see him hallucinating. He sees Jason. And we also, this is the first time we actually, like we mentioned earlier, this is when we find out he's jacked to the gills. Boy is ripped. All he is doing is having a mental breakdowns and working out, apparently. That is his character arc. I mean, it's not. They don't really address the fact that he works out, but he is so much, like, in better shape than most actors in the 80s, I feel like, unless you're, like, an action star.
He's also, like, an MMA fighter.
Yeah,
he certainly is. He certainly does, for some reason, know martial arts.
He does.
Like, he totally hits a character later with the Bruce Lee back fist.
Yeah, he does.
As we'll see in the trailer park.
He also does some judo. He does a nice judo throw in like a scene or two. But let's cut to this first of multiple scenes I talk about where I really enjoy from Reggie. Reggie and his grandpa, they have like a really heartfelt little scene where Reggie like wants to go visit his brother and his grandpa's like, nah, you can't. And he's disappointed, but then his grandpa's like, all right, you can. Like, it was just like a really like a good scene. I was like, oh, good for little Reggie. I like this Reggie kid. Nothing really mattered in that scene. Did it need to be in this movie? No. Was it a good scene? I was like, oh, okay, good for Reggie. We have during this scene we're kind of having all the characters kind of showing up. They're talking about how they're still sad that Joey's gone, and we find out that Violet, which is also this is where we find out Vi's full name is Violet. She accidentally sets too many places for breakfast, and it really upsets everyone because you don't set plates for the dead, I think was the line.
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
That easily could have been, like, a more tender moment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
In a good movie, that would have been, Isaiah.
Yes. Yeah. And it's like a shouting match for some reason.
Yeah, because they don't know how humans act. The only thing the human who wrote this ever went through was they had a good relationship with their grandpa. That's all they had. They knew nothing
And
else.
their older brother.
Yeah, and their older brother.
Yeah.
This was actually written by Reggie. He had no life experience, and he wrote this story.
He was about 10. Yeah.
And he's like, I don't care about killing. I only care about boobs.
It makes, dude.
I think this movie was made by a 12-year-old. But yeah, Tommy comes downstairs and he's told to, hey, can you go find Eddie? He's not here. He's not here for breakfast. Go get Eddie. And he doesn't answer for a little bit, and then eventually they're like, hey, can you please do this? And he's like, fine. And he starts to walk off, and here's someone in a mask scaring him. It's Eddie. And he's like, what's wrong with you? I'm just joking around. And he punches him a couple times, a little playfully, but just a little too much.
To set Tommy off.
So Tommy straight up judo throws him over his shoulder through this table.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
It is really cool. And he starts he goes down. He starts punching the crap out of him on the ground.
Yeah.
Before Matt pulls him off. And then we cut to Edith and Junior at their house. And I'll be honest, I didn't take a lot of notes in this specific scene. There's a lot of weird redneck craziness here, and I just said my notes are just Edith and Junior are complete crazies. Because that's what this scene is. It's just supposed to establish these characters that don't matter are crazy. Because guess what? They don't matter. Because that's like a lot of these movies, the characters end up not mattering. But this feels more egregious.
Because they have so much time.
They have
so
much
a lot of screen time.
We get to know them so much.
For example, 3. 3 is a terrible movie, and they have those biker characters that are literally just there to die. But they at least try to connect them to these other characters.
They sabotage the car.
And they're there because they want to hurt them. They are trying to get revenge. These people are they were on my farm once early on in the movie, and then we spend so much time with just them and not them interacting. And it's wait, what? Okay.
Yeah, there's one other scene where they actually interact with anyone from
just Tom.
the house.
Just Junior and Tommy interact a little bit.
I guess you could stretch and I don't remember if it's this scene or the one later, but they do meet that red herring.
That is at the end
with grime.
That is the end of this one. We meet a random little homeless stranger dude who's like, hey, I haven't eaten. Can I please?
I can do work.
And she's like, all right, go clean the chicken poop. And then she talks about how he's ugly, even though he's definitely not ugly. He's not like the most attractive guy ever. But it was just weird for her to be like, he's ugly. It's what? Why? Okay. Whatever.
Edith is one to talk about being ugly.
You and Junior are going to talk about being ugly, but all right. But that guy's also only here so he can be seen once again later and die. Because nothing matters in this movie.
No.
Now speaking of characters that don't matter, we have a whole subplot for a scene with this random waitress who we later find out is named Lana, having this discussion with this guy Billy about how they were gonna sleep together and go get off work so we can go out and be together. Sorry, I mean play Hermana together.
Yeah.
Hey.
I was going to say,
yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, and then we have her getting ready in the bathroom, and she's like, "Oh, it's showtime," and just rips her boobs out for no reason.
Well, she forgot what they look like, Austin, so she's
just looking in the mirror alone.
Remind herself.
She's alone. It's not like she's trying to be seductive for this guy. It's not like she's just like, "Let's get ready," and pulls her top off, and it's like, why?
Because people sing and talk to themselves.
Because this movie is made by a 12-year-old.
That's what people do.
This movie is made by a 12-year-old, and there's no really other explanation. She's going on a date with this Billy guy. She gets there's a random jump scare with a cat that's apparently her cat, because why not? At some
in the restaurant, it does not look clean. She sweeps a little bit, and she's like, "There, it's done." And there's pots and pans piled to the ceiling. To be fair, I didn't write this down, but I think before she gets scared by the cat, I think that's where we established that Billy is trying to snort some coke. Then we cut back. Also singing to himself.
Of course he is, because why not?
Yeah.
12-year-olds like to sing, Isaiah. Oh gosh. And then we cut back outside, and Billy gets axed in the head because he's like, oh, where is she? What's taking her so long? And then he gets an axe to the back of the head because, once again, can't show blood, can't show a death. We know he dies. You don't get to really see it, though. You're there. You're there the whole time. You watch him fall into the... was that her? That might be her. One of them falls into the horn. It might be her. It doesn't matter because this movie doesn't matter. These characters are literally introduced just to die immediately. But not like last movie, for example, had the banana girl, the banana hippie. Like, she was introduced.
I was like,
she was introduced just to die with that weird banana squish death. That was the whole point of her character. But that scene was 20 seconds long. Here's this character.
We see these people more, like, they have far more lines, some of them more screen time.
Technically, this is
the main character.
Technically, this is 4 scenes.
Yeah.
Technically, this is 4 scenes because it cuts back and forth the 4 different, the 2 locations back and forth twice. This is technically like 4 scenes for no reason.
Yeah.
And so she comes out. She gets in the car waiting for him. She's like, "Oh, cool, cocaine." She goes to snort some cocaine. Then she notices the bloody axe. She takes the axe to the head, or is it the neck? I don't remember. Who chest? It might be the chest.
That's the chest. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. She gets out of the car.
Yeah.
Stands up, and then of course, Jason is.
We still haven't had the reveal that it's supposed to be Jason yet. It's just the killer at this point. We don't see anything.
Yeah, it's just the killer.
We're not supposed to even think it's Jason yet.
Yep.
Until the sheriff theorizing.
Now we have to cut back to Tommy doing some more hallucinating, because, once again, we got to show the idea that he's crazy. What's happening? Ooh, he's crazy. Now we meet the mayor for literally 1 scene and literally nothing else. And
one thing I do appreciate about the mayor is that the one clue that they're in New Jersey, well, 2 clues, is first that there's like a certificate on Matthew's wall that says New Jersey, and that's the end of the screen. But also, the mayor is the most bada bing, bada boom, make it to pizza accent that we have in this whole movie. And 3 or 4 of the other characters are like pulling these, like, they're faking through these southern accents or something. I mean, the rednecks obviously lay it on pretty thick, but I think one of the paramedics half the time does, and the sheriff kind of picks one up, and it's very uncertain.
Yeah.
Until the mayor comes in, they're like, "Okay, we're in New Jersey." The mayor.
Does anybody know where we live?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. So the mayor and the sheriff are having this argument about, like, the mayor's like, "You need to figure out who's doing all this killing." And the sheriff, very much, it feels like the way he delivers this line, because the sheriff's a crappy actor, he delivers this line like it's Jason, but it seemed like he was being like a snarky jerk. Like, maybe it's Jason. But then, immediately after that, he's like, I think it's Jason. It's Jason. The guy's like, the mayor's like, Jason's dead. He's like, but what if he isn't? It's like, what is this?
He's committing to this theory in the conversation.
Talk about Jason's ashes, because they cremated him.
He's cremated.
But did you see it?
But also, to be fair, I mean, slight spoiler, I don't believe in the next movie Jason is cremated.
No.
Because, yeah.
I don't believe
Jason Lives is the title of the next movie.
The next movie is called Jason Lives, and I believe he is, and I won't tell. When he comes back, he's a body, so whatever. I don't know. Who cares? Now we cut back to Eddie, and at this point, still unnamed girl. We later find out her name is Tina. Right after, when she dies, not before she dies.
A few minutes after she dies.
Yeah.
Not really even right after she dies.
Yeah. But yeah, Eddie and girl go off they play some more harmonica, because that's their character things. I guess the reason they're in this asylum is because they're addicted to making solid music. But yeah. And then we have, and I'll say this scene goes on for so long. It's just, look at this graphic nudity for 2 minutes. And it's
Eddie goes to wash, and then we just get this really long shot of Tina laying there with her boobs out.
Yep. But
and it just
right before
hangs there for a few minutes.
Before Eddie leaves, we actually do have that the homeless man or whatever he is from earlier. He's peeping him, and then he gets stabbed in a uneventful stabbing, because everything in this movie is just a crappy little stabbing that produces almost no blood. If any, it's a tiny little spurt for a second. Because that's all this movie is a diarrhea spurt of blood.
For an hour and 30 minutes.
Yeah. So Eddie leaves Tina, and then she's then she gets sheared to death. We don't know how yet. We don't know where she got it, because it's from her perspective.
Well, we get a top-down view.
Him coming down
somewhere around here.
Yeah.
You know,
And then he goes, Wank.
Yeah. Yeah.
All off screen.
Yeah, all off screen,
Because,
of course.
Yes.
Then we cut to Eddie, and he's just kind of hanging out in the forest, being a weirdo, hitting trees, having fun. I mean, to be fair,
thinking to himself.
yeah, of course.
Well, he had to go wash
To
up.
be ever
and then he
so
played
slightly
with a
fair
rock
to this
afterwards.
character, once again, it's a 12-year-old who doesn't know how it actually works. Before they play harmonica, they did smoke some weed. So he's high right now, might be why his character is acting like this, but also, that's not how a high person acts. But 12-year-olds don't know that. So, to be fair to the writer.
To be fair.
Yeah, so he comes back after a while, and he finds her, and she's like, "Oh crap!" And we find out it's actually her eyes. Like her eyes,
They got
got
stabbed with the shears.
and
It's not bad. Again, it'd be nice to see it.
Yeah, it would have been really
It's-
cool death to see on screen.
But instead, we just get to see the dead body, because that's how this movie works. Now we have him get his head like wrapped in like a belt, and there's also like that's the word, a stick. It's a thick stick, not quite a log,
Not
but
quite a
stick,
log.
but it's a stick. It's a thick
Definitely
stick
not a log by
used,
any stretch.
that's used to crank. But when I say stick, people are probably gonna assume like a small little stick. It's a hefty stick.
It's a size.
It's a sizable stick.
It's like a forearm.
And it's used
like the heft of a walking stick.
yeah, and it's used to crank this tighter, kind of, around his head, and presumably that kills him. Maybe, who knows? Because you don't get to see anything. Because it's how this movie is. It sucks. It's bad. Let's move on.
Yep. Eddie dies, presumably.
He's dead. Now we have Reggie, and we cut back to Reggie with talking to his grandpa, and he's getting Pam. Pam is taking him to go see his brother. And they convince Tommy to go with them because
It'll be fun.
It'll be fun, Tommy. You seem more crazy than everyone else here, but let's take you on this outing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he hasn't met Demon.
Well, no, the reason is, actually, I can tell you why. Because Tommy had to be there so we could think he did the killing.
Yeah.
That's the whole reason. Because
That
he's
is
the
the only
super
reason.
MacGuffin. It's, look at him, he's a red herring. But
Oh
he's
my God.
not, because it's not done well. You don't think he's the killer at all during any of this. Oh.
No.
I mean, you don't, because you were with Chris, and
Yeah.
Well, I also
I
knew.
didn't
I also
get it at
knew
all
he
because I
wasn't.
really did.
I knew this movie was going to be bad. I didn't realize how bad it was going to be. I knew like who the killer was. I knew it was a super disappointing thing. I didn't realize how disappointing it was until we watched it.
I'm not gonna lie, like when that hobo guy peered at him through the woods so sternly when they're playing a harmonica, and then he got killed, I thought like, okay, it's not him. And so I was like kind of checking off through the movie
Yeah.
because I don't have Chris's second sight.
Here's the thing.
for-
I don't think you're supposed to realize it's Roy yet.
No.
Because it's supposed to be a surprise, but it's also bad. It's badly done.
Yeah, there's like barely any scenes where they really hint at the possibility of Roy being the killer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's also only ever in 2 scenes.
Yep.
So it's like
Maybe
it-
3 if you squint. But yeah.
It feels like they're trying to do what the first movie did with like Pamela Voorhees, where she's not even in a scene ever. She's like, I mean, her son's casually mentioned in like the beginning of the movie,
Yeah.
and then they do this twist reveal where it's like, oh, hey, here's this character you don't really would think would
Yeah.
be the killer because you don't really know who they are.
Yeah. They're trying
Surprise.
to do what that movie did, but that
They
movie
are trying.
that movie, despite itself, was good.
Yeah. This movie
is not.
just is, you know,
Oh.
despites itself the entire time.
My next note here is, because it's our next scene, is Reggie keeps having endearing moments with his family. Because it's another just really sweet moment with like, him and his brother Demon. Which, first off, his brother's name is Demon. Or that's at least the only name we ever get of him. I'm assuming his name isn't actually Demon.
Right.
But he's only referred to
his
as...
name isn't actually Reckless.
That's fair. But
yeah, these scenes are pretty refreshing.
Yeah.
The only weird thing about this scene is that there is so much admiration. Like, a little bit too much. Because Demon looks at Reggie, he's like, you're looking good. He's like, yeah. He's like, yeah. Like, for a long time. Other than that,
I am.
I agree.
I am great. Meet my girlfriend.
Yes.
Here's the thing. Yeah, this movie once again though. This is made by a 12-year-old. The 12-year-old's like, yeah, that guy, the cool guy said I look cool. Yeah. Let's
move on that.
But yeah, Demon. This scene goes on for a while. There's a lot of talk of like, here, have this enchilada, have this random piece. The guy has a lot of just random food in the back of his car
Demon's
that he lives in.
A lot of food in
because Demon lives in a van, by the way.
Outside the trailer park.
Yeah, outside the trailer park. He lives in this van.
Yeah.
Him and he's got this girl with him. I don't know if she lives in the van too, or if she's just visiting the van. Her name is.
She has a name.
Her name is Anita. We just don't know it yet, so I wasn't getting to it. It's okay. It's okay. Does her name matter? No. She's gonna be dead in the scene because that's how every character in this movie works, Chris. Don't get attached. You can only be attached to Reggie, which, to be fair, that's the only character they made me care about, and.
He is
not the main one.
He really is. He's kind not of the main character.
Girl. No, he's not the main. He's not the final girl though. They tried to give us another final girl, which is once again. I guess we'll just point it out now. Spoiler: if you somehow only watch us and don't watch these movies, which for this one is fair. But
yeah,
it's what a surprise! There's an older person and a slightly younger person who are kind of in charge of running whatever's happening this time, and they're in a relationship-ish, and she's the final girl. Because it's happened in 3 of the 4 movies now?
Yeah.
Yep.
Or 3. Yeah. It might be 4 of the...
4 is the only one that wasn't.
Yeah, this is 4 of the 5 movies. You have this girl who's kind of into this older man thing. Like, they never, like, blatantly, for this one, say Matthew and Pam are together, but it's definitely implied, and it's just like, oh, cool, another one of, and oh, she must be the final girl. She has kind of this thing with this older man. That means she survives,
and he does not. Yeah,
because that's how this works. Right.
That is the formula.
There is a formula at this point, which I get. It's not, to be fair to whoever made this one, which to be fair, I think it's the same person who made the last one, so he should know what he's doing at this point, but he doesn't, because the last movie was amazing, and then there's this movie. So Reggie gets a ring from Demon. Demon gives him one of his cool rings, and then we cut outside. Tommy didn't come into the van with them, so he's just having some PTSD, looking at a light. And then Junior shows up, and he tries to fight Tommy, but Tommy kicks his butt because Tommy knows MMA. He learned it in the insane asylum, as we've established. Mm-hmm. It's also where he gets jacked, and yeah.
He just like whips out some Jeet Kune Do on this unsuspecting hillbilly.
And,
yeah.
And then
he takes it really personally.
He does. Yeah. Then Tommy runs off because there's about to be some kills to happen, and we have to think it could be Tommy. Whoa, it's not. It wouldn't. That would be actually interesting.
It's the only good reason that you can ascribe to the movie for Tommy being off screen so much.
Yeah.
Like, we get to know the main character the least. That's
you understand.
My main
problem
with this movie.
Oh, you understand it. You understand the point.
Yeah.
Pam and Reggie, they go off to chase him in the car. They're trying to find him. They want to know where he's at. Then we have an extended scene of just Demon and Anita, because we introduced new characters, so let's have way too long with them and kill them.
Right before we kill them.
Yep. Yeah. Demon has to poop due to the enchilada, and his girlfriend Anita... She scares him in the outhouse. Then they
shaking the whole outhouse.
Yeah, and then he's like, "What are you doing, woman? I'm gonna hurt you." I don't know what was the line he said.
I'll get you, B-word.
Yeah, that's what it was. Okay, yeah.
I'm gonna get you.
He kept saying he's gonna get her for that, and then they sing.
Yeah, they sing "Baby" back and forth to each other for like way too long.
Yeah,
several verses of this song.
Then the killer kills Anita off screen. Because of course he does. You can't die on screen. Then Demon starts getting shook again, and Demon's like, "Oh, what are you doing? I'm gonna kill you.
I'm gonna get you."
Yeah. He opens the door and finds her dead body. Closes the door in fear. gets stabbed in the thigh through the wall. One of the first stabs we actually get to see. Crazy.
Yeah.
And then he gets stabbed through the stomach, and there's relatively no blood, but we at least get to see it, I guess. It still sucked. It wasn't good. One of the better ones, which if you've made it this far into this video, you know that means absolutely nothing. Cut back to the house, the main house, and Pam and Reggie, they just got back, and Matt and Grandpa, they're gone. They're missing. And around this point, we established that Jake exists and has a stutter. I mean, he was in other scenes. He didn't obviously have a stutter till this scene, and he didn't get a name till this scene, almost at the end of the movie. But guess what? He's going to die soon, so we have to establish his character. Oh my gosh, this movie.
And he's trying to get with Robin.
Yeah. But these other movies, and also I think you're you're 2 scenes too soon, Chris.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah. But yeah, so the other movies, it's always been here's a group of characters, we introduce them, they die. That's the general gist of what these movies are. But the other movies, establish the characters as they go and then kill them. This movie goes, I don't know, throw the character in. Give him 5 minutes, kill him. Give a character 5 minutes, kill him. And it's this is the worst formula you could ever have for this. This is so annoying. Oh.
Yeah.
At this point, Pam says, I'm going to go try to find, I think she's going to find Matt specifically, but maybe Grandpa too. She's going to look for him. And she leaves Jake, Rob, Vi, and Reggie, they're left at Pinehurst, because that's a good idea. Leave the kids when people are disappearing and people are getting killed. Just leave these kids unwatched. That's smart.
They've already, yeah.
Now we cut back.
Well, the whole idea behind Pinehurst is, they are on
their own. Because
they got to do what they want.
It's the honor system, baby.
Yeah.
Immediately resulting in a murder.
Yeah, Joey's dead
on campus.
Now we cut to our good old pals Junior and Edith. Woohoo! Junior is riding on his motorcycle, doing laps.
And not only is he just riding around on his motorcycle, he is doing laps around his porch.
Yelling at her, you
need
to kill him!
His mom.
Yeah, please kill him! Slice him up! Kill him! She's like, no, you come in here, eat stew! And he's just still yelling. Then
just driving laps around his porch.
Yep. And then
really
he gets his head yopped off.
What? You'll see that, they slather all that mucus onto his face for this scene. There's not even, streams, it's just a patch right there, like a mask over his penises.
Yeah.
Then he, goes by a tree one time, too many apparently, and he gets his head cut off for it, and he's dead, because he's a character, and they die. Then we cut to inside, and Edith's like, oh, good, he shut up finally. All right, well, come in and get the stew. Where are you? And then through the window comes the killer, stabs her, and we get, as Isaiah told us, spoiled for us, we get another fruit squishing death.
Yeah, Edith squeezes a tomato real hard.
Yeah, and it squishes, and it's probably one of the better deaths. Because this movie sucks. Oh, Pam's truck gets sick. That's the note. It happens, because when in doubt, cars can't work.
Yeah.
Then we cut away from her, because she doesn't matter right now. Because we got to go kill some characters. Let's go introduce them. Let's go establish Jake some more. Oh, look at this. Jake, he's into Robin.
Yeah.
And he tries to tell Robin that he's into her, but she has ADD and can't stop paying attention to the television. Maybe that's why she's in this asylum. It's the 80s. They don't understand ADD.
Yeah, who knows? She's really the only character that doesn't have, a specific reason why it would be clear that she is in this.
She's
ignoring with other people.
Yeah, she's ignoring him. She's watching this movie. He eventually gets the courage to tell her he really likes her. I don't know if he said love, but he says he really wants to be with her.
Well, he wants to play harmonica.
He wants to play harmonica with her, and she laughs at him
a lot.
It won't stop, and he's like, I was joking, and she keeps laughing at him, and he storms off. But don't feel bad for Jake, because apparently he doesn't give a crap about Robin, he just wants to get him some harmonica because he immediately goes to Vi's room trying to talk to her. She ignores him because her music's too loud and doesn't care. Because that's her character arc, is she likes music. That's all she has.
Yeah.
She likes music. Did we mention she likes music? That's it.
It is the only one that doesn't sing to herself.
But she does dance a lot by herself.
Yeah,
she does.
Master the Robot.
But that is such a good point. So many of these characters sing uselessly, but the girl obsessed with music doesn't.
Well, maybe she doesn't like to sing.
Well, maybe I don't like to watch this movie, but I had to, so she should have sang.
Valid.
He moves on. Then he's killed off screen because of course he is, because deaths happen off screen. All deaths happen off screen.
Whoa, what are you talking about? Vi closes the door, he turns around, and we get a really cool shot of Cleaver in the air.
Yeah, we see a knife coming towards him, and then we cut away because deaths happen off screen.
Oh, it's such a cool shot of the Cleaver, though.
I would agree. That's a really cool shot.
Cool kills.
That's a cool shot if you then cut to a prosthetic head getting smashed and blood gushing out. But that doesn't happen in this movie because the MPAA said blood or boobs, and they chose boobs. Because there's more. Don't worry. If that's what you're here for, there's more for you.
Yeah, that sure is.
Now we cut to Robin. She's going up to bed, and she gets naked for no reason. Because of course she does. And it's egregious how long she's just walking around naked. Literally, this one throwaway scene where she's naked is longer than all the nudity probably in the other movies combined. Like, that's how egregious this movie... That might be overboard. I'm probably wrong. But you get the point I'm trying to make is it's egregiously long. It's still like 2 minutes of seeing her boobs. And it's like... Yeah. That's what we're in. Okay, cool. And she goes to bed still naked, puts the blanket up right under her boobs because can't stop showing those boobs. That's all you get in this movie is boobs.
Just right up under, just so you can.
She doesn't cover herself at all. No, she goes right to under the boobs. This movie.
You know, a specific direction from the
12-year-old director.
From the director.
I want to see boobies. And they're like, all right.
Put those boobies away.
All right, turn. Look at the dead guy. Cool. You keep being naked, and then she gets killed, and we cut away.
In a scene that like the other Friday the 13th movies mimic.
Oh, you're right.
Through the bed, we don't even get to see the machete come up through the bed. They just go up into the bed,
come back down with a slightly bloody machete.
Which really just cements it as like the worst movie ever.
Because every one of these movies has to do this. There was the awesome death from Kevin Bacon in the first movie.
But worse.
And they said, let's do that again, worse. And they've done it 3 other times previously before this one, worse. But not as bad. Not as egregiously...
Like food-squishing death, but worse.
Not as egregiously worse as this one. Because you don't even see it coming through.
Just... Alright, and there we go.
Is this the first time? Because she rolls over and she sees... We do see the cleaver wound. Is that the first time where the character finds one of the dead bodies? Because that's...
No.
When does this happen?
Eddie found...
Yeah, Eddie found...
Lisa? Tina's body from where she got her eyes stabbed.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point.
Are you sleeping?
It wasn't like placed in a new spot.
No, this is the first move-a-body spot. The classic Jason move-a-body. But to be fair, this isn't Jason, so he doesn't know to move the bodies. At all.
Right.
Except for this one and other ones that he chooses to do when they decide to remember to do that trope. When they remember halfway through this movie, oh yeah, that's a trope we do. Let's do that. Now we have Vi. She's grooving to her music. The killer comes in the room, and she hears him, but she doesn't see anything, so she goes, cool, I'll just dance for a minute. And then he eventually...
minute and a half longer.
Yeah, my note here was the killer stabs her after playing a mini game of hide and seek, because that's what it is. He's just playing hide and seek. It's, when in doubt, play hide and seek. And, like, this is the most hide and seek of hide and seeks, because he's, like, literally hiding, like, in a closet so she doesn't see him. But yeah.
Right behind the banjo.
She dies. And then we cut to, I think Reggie's getting woken up by lightning. I don't remember for sure how he wakes up. But he wakes up, And he goes looking for everyone. He goes looking specifically see if Tommy's back yet, because, he cares about Tommy. Reggie's a good kid. He cares about Tommy. I also think he might be roommates with Tommy. I don't know. Because he was in his room earlier. He could have just been playing a prank. I don't know how this whole world works, because they don't establish anything like that.
No. Yeah, Reggie just goes to investigate Tommy's room because, it's convenient for the plot.
Oh, God. Sorry. You're right. Speaking of convenient to the plot, the killer decided to move bodies again. It does that now.
And where to other than Tommy's room?
Because, oh my gosh, Tommy's the killer. Here's the dead bodies. Hey, look. Robin's still naked. I mean, that's fair, but just here's a clear, moonlit shot of her naked breasts, though. Like, it's not just, she's still naked. Like, the moonlight is only on her and her naked boobs again. Because that's what this movie is.
Mm-hmm.
Then Pam returns and also finds the dead bodies. And Jason shows up. I have Jason in quotes here because, as you know, as we've spoiled already for you, it's not Jason. Jason's dead. He's still dead. He'll always be dead.
Until the next movie.
What are we talking about? Just because the next one's called Jason Lives doesn't mean Jason's alive, Chris.
Yeah.
I think that might be exactly what that means.
Yeah, he shows up and he chases them. And
yeah.
Not Roy is found dead in the ambulance because the other one, he never had a name. He's found dead.
Which is the second scene where it's hinted that Roy's probably the killer.
Or
ambulance.
To be fair
his partner dead.
To be fair, I think the idea there was actually I think that's going off of he was the callous one, so you were supposed to think maybe it was him. That's another one of them going, look, that guy's dead. He's not the killer. Who is it? I could be wrong.
Well, don't worry, because in that immediate scene, if you were paying attention at all, they have a lightning flash, and it is you can clearly see Jason's eyes, which are icy blue. And would you know it? The only other character who has piercingly blue eyes in this movie is Roy.
Yeah.
They're just oh yeah. I mean, we're not unmasking the killer, but here's the most identifiable part of the killer's face.
Yeah.
For you to see in clear daylight.
At this point, Pam and Reggie, they split up as they run, and they also both keep tripping. And it doesn't matter to the plot. It's weird that they cut to her, she trips. They cut to him, he trips. They cut back to her, she trips again. It's not like Jason catches either of them, but just they trip.
No, they're just very clumsy.
It's a little bit different because she does a like Looney Tunes running in place, tripping in the mud, and Reggie looks back for a second, and he just zips off like Usain Bolt, and he makes it a good distance before he trips once and bounces back up again, and then he's got his clumsiness.
No, that's fair.
But it kicks in a lot. She's doing the classic horror movie run where everything's flailing around, but he's pocket to ear. Just sprinting down the woods. Well,
because the plot needs him to get to some other place, Isaiah, for a later reveal.
And we'll find that out in a short while.
And Pam then finds Matt's dead body, nailed to a tree. Would have been a real cool death to see. We don't get to.
No.
We never see Grandpa either.
No, we find his dead body
died at the same time?
Yeah, we find his dead body later.
We do? I forgot.
Yeah. Because now we cut to Pam being inside a house, and it's a Friday the 13th movie, so Grandpa gets tossed through the window at Pam.
Oh, yeah.
Pam does some more running. She runs outside. She's scared. She was literally only went inside so that body could be thrown through the window. She crawls to another stupid barn is my note here. Just because, you saw, I really did not like the barn from movie 3, and it's another barn. I just felt the need to complain about that real quick. Reggie uses a type of heavy machinery. Chris said tractor. I don't think it technically is, but I don't know what it is. But it is some sort of heavy. Is it a backhoe?
I would say a backhoe.
You're probably
or a
right.
bulldozer.
Maybe. Reggie has
I'm basing this on King of the Hill.
Fair. Reggie has some sort of heavy farm equipment machinery, and he's using that, and he hits Jason. And Pam and Reggie, rather than continuing to run, decide to, let's go look at this dead body of Jason that we obviously killed going at 5 miles an hour and barely knocked him over.
It made a giant gash.
It did, but
somehow.
They shouldn't know that yet. Chris, until they get to him.
No, they shouldn't.
Pam and Reggie get grabbed before running to the barn. Pam is hiding in a cabinet. Jason finds the cabinet, opens it, and she starts sword fighting him with his machete and her chainsaw. Like, it's kind of cool, but it's also what? Why are they sword? It's like a classic like parrying sword fight with a chainsaw and a machete.
And still lackluster.
Yeah, no, because everything in this movie sucks.
Unless you get a good slash in on his shoulder with the chainsaw before it stops working.
The only
because
thing that does
nothing can work in a Friday the 13th movie.
That's true. Everything gets sick. Just like I'm sick of this movie.
This movie,
Tommy shows up proving his innocence. He's not Jason. What? The most red herring was a red herring? Yeah. Which, to be fair, I did tell Chris this. That I feel like there could have been a good movie with Tommy actually being the killer. I feel like this wasn't it at all. But there is a story there they could have told. Yes. They chose not to.
There was.
Like, the last movie ended, he mean mugged the camera, as you so eloquently put it. Like, okay, Tommy just kindled his lust for blood. Yeah. He's fixing to kill in this next movie.
Yeah,
but totally squandered.
But we don't get that.
They go in a completely different direction.
We get Tommy getting freaked out by Jason, and he gets he just stands there like, oh, Jason, 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 and then he has the last movie running on like an audio in his ears, the last scene from the last movie. Tommy, remember, Jason, die. Like, it's just that. It's over and over that. And he's just standing in fear, which, to be fair, this guy killed Jason, and now Jason's standing there. That would be a freaky moment. Like, I'm not faulting the character for standing there in fear, but he is standing there in fear, and I am faulting the movie for lingering on him standing in fear for so gosh darn long.
And then he gets whacked by Jason with the machete.
Giant cut on his chest, and but Tommy's not dead. He stabs Jason in the thigh with his little knife that he was ominously staring at earlier.
His little Kershaw knife.
Yep. And then somehow, I think I missed something here, but the next thing I've written down is Jason thinks Tommy's dead. So Tommy first, he tries to escape up the ladder with them. They're all Pam and Reggie are up a ladder in like the second floor of the barn, and when Jason gets up there, he sees Tommy laying there, and he just assumes he's dead and walks past him, trying to look for whoever's next. First, he sees Reggie. Reggie kind of gets his attention. He tries to chop Reggie down, but there's a piece of wood in the way, and he doesn't really try after that. And Pam gets his attention from behind. She distracts him for a little bit. He almost kills her. Oh, no, sorry. She knocks him off. No? Was that after?
She pushes him over.
Yeah.
And then they go to look, and then he grabs Reggie's leg.
Yeah. Actually, I think Reggie helps knock him down, because he does that, like, flying crossbody off the top. He, like, does the dive onto him.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Pam gets his attention. Yeah. And then Jason's about to like hack Pam, and then he does the crossbody.
Yeah. So then she eventually like trips him out the thing, and before she trips him out the window, you see this like spike. I think it's like a hay baler. I could be wrong. I'm not a farmer, but I think it's used for like hay baling. There's like these spikes down there, some sort of farmer equipment with spikes, and you're like, oh, he's gonna fall and die on that. He falls out the window, but he's not dead. And then he's back in, and but Tommy's good, so he saves the day by chopping off Jason's hand as he tries to pull Reggie down, and then he falls on the spikes. And it's revealed he's Roy! Remember Roy? Gosh!
I remember Roy.
It's such a lame reveal. Like, it's so bad. Roy is not a character that matters in this movie at all.
But wait.
But does he matter?
He does.
Because now we cut to the sheriff talking to Pam. And, well, guess what? Roy did all this because Joey was his kid. Ooh, which we do reveal earlier.
The orphan?
Yeah, he's an orphan, which I also, I don't remember where it happened exactly, but there is a scene that we forgot to mention where
like one of his mother's
dad and his father just
don't know
left.
what happened to his dad.
Yeah. So Well, apparently his dad is Roy, and also at this point, I remember what happened here, but my note here is this movie sucks. After that, we find out Joey was his kid. We're finding out here that he apparently did some research on Jason and decided to use that as his cover. Like, here's some news clippings. He decided Jason was the way to go.
And the thing is, it was totally effective with his own, like with the sheriff.
Yeah,
like it worked.
It worked, but it doesn't make it less stupid.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Now we cut to our next ending, because we're at ending 2 already. Let's go to ending 3. We have Tommy. Pam comes in and she's like, "Hi." There's a really romantic hi moment between them. It's kind of awkward because there's no romance with those characters at all, but there's a very lingering romantic hi. And then Tommy pulls out a knife, like a machete, and starts stabbing, and you're like, "What the crap?" Oh yeah, it's a dream.
And then he wakes up.
Yeah, he wakes up because of course he does. Because that would have been interesting. It was just a nightmare. And then Jason is standing there. Now we know it's Jason because the mask is different. It's broken. It's not Roy. This is
red and it's got yeah.
This is Jason. Whoa, he's standing there. He's a sleep paralysis demon, baby, and he's here because Tommy's just sitting there terrified. And but Tommy overcomes his fear. He stares at him until he goes away. And it's another scene that, like everything in Friday the 13th, lasts for about 30 seconds longer than it should. He stares at him for so long. And I know we've crapped on this movie more than we've crapped on any other movie, but that is a complaint I have about all of these movies. All of these movies, at the best ones, have an hour and 20 minutes, maybe hour 15 of a story, and then go, well, we have to add another 10 to 15 minutes of nothing. And this movie, like all the other ones, is guilty of that. But unlike those movies, this has no redeeming qualities.
No.
Well, unless you're into nudity. Then I guess there's some.
Yeah.
So Jason's gone. And Tommy, he walks over and oh my gosh, somehow he has Roy's mask in this little cabinet, and then we cut out and it's Pam. She's walking up to see him, and then we hear a window break, like, oh no, he ran away with the mask or something. She walks in and sees the window broken, and then, oh my gosh, he's standing behind her. Is he gonna kill her? Probably not, because this scene probably didn't happen if it's like any of the other movies. This scene is just there, because that's how these movies work. Here's a stupid throwaway scene, which to me that's a complaint about the whole franchise, not this movie. But it adds to this movie of just this which from my understanding,
in this movie.
Yeah, from what actually I understand, if I remember right from watching a video about someone else discussing this, the community of Friday the 13th fans love this ending scene. I don't understand why.
Yeah.
But apparently they do. Apparently they love the idea of Tommy giving in and becoming a killer here. I just feel like it's not...
It's stupid, especially considering like the scene right before where he stares at Jason and then he goes away, and it's like, oh yeah, he overcame his fear and trauma of dealing with Jason.
Yeah. If they wanted him...
No, but what actually if he didn't and he decided to just become a killer?
So much.
He just absorbed Jason.
So much.
Yeah,
so.
he is the soul of Jason now.
If they wanted Tommy to be the killer, they should have had him be the killer. Then they didn't.
Yeah.
Yes. They threw it away, they made it Roy. Alright. Now we cut to him being terrified by Jason. If you want him to give in to Jason, have him give in there. He doesn't. Yeah. He overcomes it. Just to give in immediately.
Yeah, it really doesn't make any sense.
The movie's over. You guys can't see this, but you audience, you can. I'm throwing my notes away. I'm so angry. This movie is so bad. Final thoughts. This movie sucks. That's my thoughts.
Franchise. Absolutely.
There's nothing redeemable about this. Nothing. No. Oh, God, is it bad.
Yeah. It doesn't know what it wants to do aside from imitate the movies that came before it. And then it does a piss poor job of doing even that.
Mm-hmm.
And it just doesn't know the direction that it wants to take. Is very evident in the ending. You can call it twists. It's not. Twist implies that there's a setup beforehand. And there is very little.
For example, Roy is a twist. It sucks. It's stupid. It's not good. But as Chris noticed as the movie went, they hinted at it. That's a twist.
It was a bad twist, but it was a twist. I think the most egregious one is the Tommy twist at the end where he's like, oh yeah, he overcomes Jason, but actually no, he succumbs to it for no reason whatsoever. Like, screw you, you don't deserve that. You didn't earn that twist.
Yep.
Yeah, I hate this movie.
Yeah.
Isaiah?
Yeah.
He loves it, actually.
I do. This is my favorite one. I've been generous with the other movies, because they do have a quality that's unconventional. I think that's the nicest way to put it. But I mean that like sincerely about the other
Yeah.
ones, especially number 4, in which after our last one, Austin convinced me. I was thinking about more. I think it's my favorite one. Anyway, um, after work yesterday, I got off work at 5. Went to go eat at a restaurant with my old roommate, Ludfi from Turkey. It's either here, or there, or anywhere. But I left my computer at my office, and which we share with another business, and that was closer than my apartment. So I just went and I watched it there. There was no one there. So, I'll turn off the lights. I'm gonna like plunder the office snacks. It's gonna be all right. Good time. And then this movie had the most moaning of any of these movies. It started off with gratuitous moaning on the part of Tommy. He's just, like, and I mean, I see him. I know this isn't like lewd moaning, nothing sexual about it, but still, like, people. I know that there are other people. Maybe they're in the building. There are other lights on. I don't know who's in there. I think, like, I hope they don't hear all this moaning coming from this movie I'm watching in here.
And then odds are, if they came in, they'd see nudity because that's this movie.
Well, that's the thing. I was like, scene number 1. I think, okay, well, at least there's no nudity here. Like, if someone comes in, I don't have to like, try and like, cover up the screen.
It's not what you think it is.
Yeah. Well, I swear. But then that very thing happened over and over again in this movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, but
yeah,
as I alluded to earlier, my main problem, I agree with everything Chris said. I hadn't thought about that before, about how like it's an imitation and a bad imitation. I think that's really accurate. What struck me was that we get introduced to Tommy, and it so strongly insinuates in the last movie that he is going to pick up Jason's mantle. And the movie ends again insinuating, like, it ends with the same ending as the last one, basically. We're left with nothing new about Tommy. And we avoid learning about Tommy for the sake of this dumb whodunit plot that totally sacrifices like Tommy's identity. He says 20 words in this whole movie. Maybe
that might be generous. That might be generous.
That might be generous. Like he probably says about 10 words, most of them monosyllables.
Well,
we never get to know Tommy.
Well, he says more than 20 words, but normally it's him repeating the same word 5 times in a scene if he's getting to talk in that scene. Jason, yes. Jason, 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 Jason.
Yeah. And so you said earlier, like, that you thought his acting was good, and I do too. My hesitation is there were a lot of these characters where I would initially think, okay, finally, this character's acting natural and believable and convincing. Like, I thought that about Billy. He seemed very reactive and wasn't just like reading off his lines all wooden or a caricature. Like, it seemed. But then the more I saw Billy, the less I liked his acting. That's kind of how I felt about a lot of the characters in this movie. And I thought, maybe if this guy had more lines, I might think the same way about him. Like, turns out he's a crappy actor, but he just has so little screen time as the main character that we just never get to know him. We see him do some cool stuff, and that is all that they give us to make us sympathize with him. So yeah, I mean, I'm trying not to be overcritical, but yeah, this movie totally blew. Don't recommend it.
Yeah.
Structurally, just bad, and way over reliant on nudity. And if there is so much more, like the ratio of singing and moaning to the main character's words themselves is just far too high. I have to say.
No, I mean
I agree.
That shouldn't have to be a thing to be said. Like that sentence sounds stupid, but is it accurate as crap? Yeah, it is. Because this movie, like, it has nothing going for it. The only redeeming quality is Reggie is.
It's Tommy's really cool martial arts. Oh,
yeah. Reggie is a kind of decent character, and scenes that involve him and his family specifically, like, did make me slightly care about Reggie.
Yeah.
But they don't really do anything but those 2 scenes. And they don't kill him because I guess you can't kill a kid or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Reggie
he
does survive.
Yeah, he lives. He's the final girl plus Pam plus Tommy. There's 3 final girls now.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
last
it's debatable
movie,
whether or not Pam lives.
Well, that's true. Well, my argument to that would be then you would say the same about every other final girl because they all also like basically get killed after they don't
But
die.
also, maybe it was just a dream again.
Yeah,
Because we
maybe all of this is a
established
dream.
that Tommy
Maybe-
has a lot of dreams.
Maybe
Yeah.
this whole movie was a dream, and I didn't actually waste an hour and a half of my life watching it.
You know what?
the
It wouldn't have
Philip K.
mattered
Dick.
if it was a dream because nothing happened in this movie that furthered the story of Tommy or Jason.
What are you talking about? He put on the mask. But
Or
don't
did he?
worry. If you thought this movie sucked for all the reasons it sucked, don't worry, because the next movie, the creators went, oh, you didn't like that? Cool. Jason Lives, I guess. Which also, I will say, I've heard Jason Lives is good. We'll see. We'll be the judge of that for our own personal opinions. But I've heard it's good. Some people, I've actually heard some people say it's like their favorite, so we'll see. Maybe it's going to be fun. Or it'll be crap. Who knows? This movie sucked. Tune in next week for Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. Bye-bye!
Bye-bye.